Alright, so here's a little guide or tutorial on how to leverage game software for rulebook design or just general tabletop role-playing RPG game design. So what that means is how to use a game engine to develop resources or tools for your tabletop game. It could be a manual, it could be a dice roller, it could be many things. So I'm using Construct 3, which is a very easy, straightforward, really cool game engine. You go to editor.construct.net. I recommend you create an account. The paid version is better. If you don't pay for the paid version, you're gonna have a event limit. So the code that you're gonna write is shorter. It's not gonna allow you to write more than 25 or 30 lines of code. While if you do pay for the membership, you can create as many lines of code blocks you want. So I do recommend that you pay for the full version because it's definitely worth it. So I'm gonna hit new and I'm gonna choose SD portrait 9/16 aspect ratio because this is like a cell phone or similar to a cell phone screen because I want to do a mobile app. I want to do like a mobile app. Yeah. So I hit create and I come to this screen, which if you can see has the viewport screen here and extra space. So anything within this lines, I don't know if you see them, but this intersected lines like this is what the preview is gonna look like. So you have many things you can choose here. You have your project view, your layout view, you have your properties, and depending on what you click, you're gonna see many things. The first thing you need to know is that by right clicking, you can view a few things here. So I'm gonna show you what objects are. And essentially objects are like a holder for physical entities or physical things you can, or systems or code that you can add that already have a pre-worked or pre-organized function within it. So the one that we're going to use the most is the sprite, which is just a PNG or a JPEG render. It's just a photo that you can add to the screen. The text, which holds text, it can change and hold text. The text input, which can hold user input in from the keyboard. It could be numbers, it could be letters, uh, but yeah. And the list, which can hold your classes or a visual representation of your choices. It can be used to make choices from a drop down list. So I'm gonna start by creating a text. Remember, I opened this screen by right clicking and clicking insert new object. I'm gonna insert a text and a sprite. And when you insert a sprite, it's gonna open the sprite editor. So you can clicking this button. You can draw on it, but it's better to grab things from your computer. So, for example, this character. You see? Now I close this, and I have it on my mobile screen. I can shrink it, and that works for a cool icon. It looks like a logo for a rulebook. This is how you start designing the layout of your role-playing app. Let's call it a this keyword. Let's use this keyword for now. Role-playing app. So this could be our logo. This could be our home button. It could be a character. It could be a class. But yeah, that's basically how you add pictures to to the mobile app screen. Text. If you go to the properties of text, here you see the properties on the right hand window. You're gonna find what holds the text, what text you're gonna write out. So you can write out class, you see, and you can place this anywhere you want, or you can change the color. You see, now it's red. You can put it bold. You can change the font. I don't know, this one. And that's how you can stylize your role-playing app. Uh, you can an important thing that we're gonna see in the text object is that you can, if you keep typing here I am going to type a sentence that is long. So it's gonna wrap around the distance of your text box. So depending on how big your text box is, I'm gonna remove this from here. Depending on how big your text box is how it's gonna wrap around. But if you wanna insert a line break, like an indentation for your line break, you're just gonna type this backslash and an N, and it's gonna, so it doesn't show here, but we're gonna use this type of backslash and an N, and that's gonna insert a new line. And what the new line does is it breaks the sentences into indentations. So if I add another one, it creates a second indentation, and that way I can style my text any way I want. Another thing that we can do, we can add to this text box holder, and I'm gonna change the title of the text box. I'm gonna name it text box holder. You can name it main text or body text or any name that helps you understand. I'm gonna rename the skeleton to logo, and I'm going to show you what it says in the property screens, that it says variables. Essentially what a variable is a one of three things. It's going to be a series of letters, which is named string, a series or a single number, or a boolean. And a boolean is a trigger that tells you either yes or no. Yes, it is on. No, it is not on. True or false. Boolean is a trigger. So you can do advanced or more complicated mechanics with yes or no triggers. Numbers can be used for values or attributes or as stats or any of that sort. And string is just something that holds words. So let's say and this variable is unique to the instance of the text box holder. So if I place here uh, my variable, my string variable is here, right? And I shrink this and I copy by Control C, Control V. Now I have two text box of the same type of the text box holder. I duplicated it, so it's the same entity, but with its own properties. It's gonna say my string variable is here. But I can change and say is also here. So I go to the variable and I change the string variable. My string variable is also here. But the first one is gonna retain what you wrote in it first. My string variable is here. And the second text box is gonna say my string variable is also here. So how do we use this variable to show up on the text box? Well, we're gonna see events, and in the top of the screen there's something called event sheet, and that's where you program or do your event logic, your codes, your lines of code. So we have system, we have the image, and we have the text box holder, and this takes a little bit getting used to, but I'm gonna teach them little by little. So we're gonna go into system and we're gonna go start of layout, right? And that's whatever action you add to this event is gonna happen every time you play this button or refresh the page, your app. So on start of layout, I'm gonna go to act. So this is a condition. This side of the left side of the event is a condition. So it has to be true. It's gonna meet that condition before moving on to realizing the action that it is within the event. And the action is gonna go. I'm gonna go to the text box holder, and it has a lot of things. It has like rotation, angle, blend mode, visibility, a lot of stuff you can use. It has the variable that we did it. You can change it here, but I'm gonna say set text. So at the start of layout, I'm gonna say I want the text to display my variable. So I go to text box holder dot variable one. That's the name of the variable. That's not a good name for the variable, so I'm gonna change it. So I'm gonna change it to box text, right? So it says on start of layout, set the text of each text box to its own box text variable. And when we do this, my string variable is here. My string variable is also here. So you can store value and store a specific type of text within that variable and call it with just one event. So you can have 10, 100, 1000 box entities of the same type, of the same unique object. So it's one unique object and many copies of it, but they're all gonna retain the variable that you added to it. And again, a variable is a metaphorical or I don't know how to call it, like a imaginary holder for information. It's like a thing that holds information for you. It could be numeric, it could be true or false, or it could be strings of letters. So you can do a lot with these things. You gotta do many things. But this way you start stylizing your your TTRPG, your role-playing app. So another cool thing is I'm gonna do is this is so plain, so I'm gonna add a a background. I'm gonna go to photo, which is one of those crazy AI photo editing programs, and I'm gonna type uh, uh, village, uh, beautiful role playing app landscape. You see, now we have a cool image to use as a background. This is the style I'm using in my own game. uh, I'm gonna change this to urban landscape because I wanted more sci-fi maybe. You see, this might work for a dating app or a dating role-playing game. I'm gonna say I'm still not convinced. I'm gonna put sci-fi land. Beautiful role. I'm gonna erase beautiful. I'm gonna put role-playing urban sci-fi landscape. So it's more gritty. I could add the word gritty, and it's gonna work too. But let's see what it comes up with. Perfect. This looks more in what I'm looking for. This one is perfect. So I'm gonna choose it, download it. In a few, it's gonna download. Then I go back to construct. No, this is not. This is my game. Here's it is. Insert new object, sprite. Open the folder. Open downloads. Open my image. Close it. And it's pretty big, so the resolution is going to be perfect, because if we shrink it down it maintains the resolution, but if I shrink it up it loses resolution. That's just natural of all art or visuals, unless it's an SVG file, like a vector file. Vector files can be upscaled to any size and retain their fidelity, but since this is a JPEG or a PNG, it it works that if you shrink it, it doesn't lose fidelity. It might retain it or it might increase it, but it won't. If I shrink it, it won't uh, lose fidelity. So I'm gonna put it as my background. There I go. Then I'm gonna use the right click C order to send it to the bottom of layer. And now when I hit play, my string variable is here. My string variable is also here. So now we start to create the layout for our TTRPG app, of course. And this one is not to the bottom, so I'm gonna right there. Perfect. Another thing that we can do, and I do a lot, is insert a sprite. Fill it with white. And here where it says color, I can change the color easily by just changing the color in the properties. So I can use preferably a blue to match the background. I could use a darker blue. Yeah. I'm going to choose my text box holder on the projects view on the list of items that the project has. And I'm going to send them to the top of the layer. So I can do this. I'm going to copy this. Control copy, Control V. I'm going to write I'm gonna grab this. Put it right here. I'm gonna double click both. You see? Now we have a simple UI for our app design. We can change the color of the second one if we wanted to. Where is the... We can also choose the sprite holder, and I'm gonna use generic colored box, and I'm gonna change the opacity, the how transparent it is. I'm gonna put it into 65. So no, I'm gonna do it individually so it doesn't take the color. 65, perfect. 65. Another cool thing we can do with the text boxes is add effects to it. So I go to effects, add new effects, glow, glow horizontal, glow vertical, and whatever I type here I type, it's gonna have that sci-fi look, like the, you know, like the glowing neon lights. And now when I go here, my string variable is here, my string variable is also here, because this is showing up the what the variable, the string variable, is holding. All right, so we can, sorry, we can organize this as any way we want. I can move this over here and go like this. I can move this over here. And go like this. That way it looks more like an app. I can change the variable to just, I'm gonna I'm not gonna use this yet. So let's say my game is called Endurance. The perfect sci-fi TTRPG. And I'm gonna copy this here just to test it out. Now I want it in the middle, so I'm gonna wrapping. I'm gonna go to horizontal alignment and go center. Now I'm gonna the vertical alignment and put it to the center as well. Endurance, the perfect sci-fi TTRPG. I'm gonna change the color to maybe orange, or I can grab from here. There we go. There, looks better. Then in the second box, I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna center and center, and I'm gonna write in the variable a game in which you control a faction of fighters and defend against hordes of robots and zombies. Now I'm gonna erase the text from the. This was just for testing purposes because the variable is gonna take care of our showing needs. Or you see, endurance, the perfect sci-fi TTRPG. This one, the color is not working, so I'm gonna change the color to the same one. I can go here, grab the color, go here, paste the color. I'm gonna lower the color from the blue box. I'm gonna change it to a darker color. You see, now it might look better. I can change the opacity of this one to maybe 82. You know. Now, what if I wanna? First step. What if I wanna create? So now we know how to put text on our screen. You can use these same principles to make a. For example, if I duplicate this and I shrink it like this, and I put it in the middle, I could put game rules here. I can put how it works. I can put many things. I can put, I don't know, anything that comes up to mind. I can display it here. I'm gonna grab this text box, paste it, erase the variable. I'm gonna make it fit within. Right. Let me zoom in. And I'm gonna say choose game faces. Then backslash n choose it's not gonna work. The backslash n is not gonna work exactly as we want it here because this is text. But if this is the only text that we're gonna show here, we can do this, and then we can test. I'm gonna change the vertical alignment to top. I'm just making this up on the go. Need 2 more factions. Hunters and civilians. Choose from 5 factions: mercenaries, artificial intelligence, military, hunters, and civilians. Of course, I'm just making this game up as I go. This is just to display a principle of programming knowledge. Let me get a sip of coffee. So, choose from 5 factions: 1 mercenaries, 2 artificial intelligence, 3 military, 4 hunters, 5 civilians. And you can add any game rules. I'm gonna add 2 more backslashes and I put uh, roll a d10 for your choose. Let me, let's see. I'm just making up the rules, so this is the hard part. You should have the rules before you do this. You should have the rules already to sign. It's better. It's easier. It's faster. I've done it with my game. It saves you a lot of time. Makes it go easier because you know what text is gonna go inside of the holder, inside of the text box. So, for example, mm, choose abilities and skills for your faction. Backslash n backslash n. Roll a d6 for your abilities and a d10 for skills. The game master uses a fixed. This is a single d8 as a challenge rating. So, so this is the basic rules. Game phases. Choose from 5 factions. The 5 factions. Choose ability and skills for your faction. Roll a d6 for your abilities and a d10 for your skills. The game master uses a single d8 as a challenge rating. So this could be interpreted in many ways, and it could definitely be explained better. But let's take a look. Oh, what happened? It's choose. We have to put this within because it didn't show up because on start of layout we're replacing the text with the text the text uh, variable. So since the variable doesn't have any thing on it, and this is within the text, the actual text box text instead of the variable, it shows as empty. So we can move this over here. We can go, but the thing is, if we do this, we're gonna see the ends. Oh wait, no, we don't. It's perfect. It's the ends work perfectly in the. I thought it would have not taken in considerations the new lines, but it does. So it's even easier and faster to work with. Uh, so yeah, just put it in the variable, and make sure on start of layout, set text the name of your box holder of your text box dot box text, or the name the the name of your variable. So box text is this variable over here, and it's saying for each start up on when the player opens the app, for each text box, set the text to the variable itself that it holds itself. And again, variables are individual, so whatever you put in this variable within this text box is individual. So it's an instance variable. It's a variable that varies from instance to instance. So this concludes the first tutorial. I'm gonna make a few more today. I'm gonna upload them all at the same time so you can follow along and do really cool things. Some things we learned today was how to make text objects and edit their content with variables. We learned what a variable is. It can hold a string, it can hold a number or a true and false condition. We learned how to make solid colored boxes with just one instance by changing the color of the color property. We learn how to place uh, sprites and how to resize them and how to make AI art for the background. And I think that covers everything we did. I hope you enjoy and that we learned a lot and that this helps you out to create supplements or more, fine-tuned apps or structures for your TTRPG. Thanks for watching.